Despite being one of the most resource-rich areas in the world, Latin America is still home to some of the poorest countries on Earth. In this video, I'm going to explore some of the reasons why this is still the case and what can be done about it. Latin America is one of the most diverse and beautiful regions in the world. However, it is also one of the poorest. Why has this region been unable to break out of poverty? There are a number of factors that contribute to Latin America's continued poverty, including poor infrastructure, lack of education, and inequality. But perhaps the biggest factor is corruption. Until Latin American countries can address corruption, they will continue to be plagued by poverty. What is happening with poverty in Latin America? Latin America is the most unequal region in the world. According to the World Bank, Latin America has the highest level of income inequality of any region in the world. This means that there is a large gap between the rich and the poor. The richest 20% of Latin Americans earn 50% of the region's income, while the poorest 20% only earn 3.4%. This inequality is a major cause of poverty, as it prevents those at the bottom from ever getting ahead. What is causing corruption in Latin America? There are a number of factors that contribute to corruption in Latin America. One is the lack of democratic institutions. In many countries, there is simply no check on those in power, who can abuse their position for personal gain. Additionally, many Latin American countries have weak rule of law. This means that there is little consequence for those who break the law. Finally, poverty itself can be a cause of corruption. Desperate people are more likely to bribe officials in order to get access to basic services or jobs. What can be done to reduce corruption in Latin America? There are a number of steps that can be taken to reduce corruption in Latin America. One is to strengthen democratic institutions and the rule of law. This will provide greater accountability and make it more difficult for corrupt officials to get away with their crimes. Another is to invest in education and economic development. This will help reduce inequality and give people more opportunities, making them less likely to resort to bribery. Finally, it is important to increase transparency in government. This will make it easier to catch corrupt officials and discourage them from engaging in corruption in the first place. Corruption is a major problem in Latin America that needs to be addressed in order to reduce poverty in the region. Strengthening democratic institutions, investing in education and economic development, and increasing transparency in government are all critical steps that need to be taken. Only by addressing corruption can Latin America hope to break out of poverty. Why Latin America is still poor. 13 facts about inequality, unemployment, and wage stagnation in the region. 1. Population growth is outstripping economic growth. Latin America is the world's most urbanized region, with more than 80% of the population living in cities. But this rapid urbanization has not been accompanied by economic growth. In fact, Latin America's economy has only grown by an average of 1.4% per year over the past decade, while the region's population has increased by 1.7% per year. This means that Latin America is not creating enough jobs to keep up with population growth. 2. Unemployment is high and rising. Latin America's unemployment rate stands at 8.1%, which is higher than the global average of 5.7%. And it's only getting worse. Over the past year, unemployment in the region has increased by 0.5%. This is a big problem because unemployed people are more likely to turn to crime or become involved in social unrest. 3. Inequality is still a major problem. Latin America is the most unequal region in the world, with the top 10% of the population earning 48% of the region's total income. This inequality is a major contributor to poverty and social unrest. 4. Wage growth has been stagnant for years. Wage growth in Latin America has been almost non-existent in recent years. In fact, real wages in the region have actually declined by 0.3% since 2010. This is a big problem because it means that workers are not seeing their incomes increase, even as the cost of living goes up. 5. Poverty rates have declined, but millions still live in extreme poverty. Latin America has made some progress in reducing poverty, with the poverty rate falling from 45% in 2002 to 33% in 2014. However, this still means that around 100 million people in the region live in extreme poverty, which is defined as living on less than $2 per day. 6. Child poverty is still a major problem. Despite some progress in recent years, around 1 in 4 children in Latin America, 24%, still live in poverty. This is a big problem because it means that these children are more likely to grow up to be poor adults. 7. Basic services are still not accessible to many people. Latin America has made progress in expanding access to basic services such as water and electricity, but there is still a long way to go. According to the World Bank, only 76% of the population has access to piped water and just 60% have access to electricity. 8. Education levels are still low. Latin America has made some progress in increasing educational attainment, but around 1 in 3 adults in the region, 32%, still lack a basic secondary education. This is a big problem because it means that many people are not qualified for the jobs that are available. 9. Violent crime is a major problem. Latin America is the most violent region in the world, with a homicide rate of 24 per 100,000 people. This high level of violence is a big contributor to poverty and inequality. 10. Corruption is still rampant. Corruption is still a major problem in Latin America, with over 60% of people saying that it is widespread in their country. This corruption makes it difficult for businesses to operate and makes it harder for the government to provide basic services. 11. Environmental degradation is a major problem. Latin America is home to some of the world's most biodiverse ecosystems, but these ecosystems are being degraded at an alarming rate. Deforestation, for example, is occurring at a rate of 5,000 hectares per day. This environmental degradation is a big contributor to poverty and inequality. 12. Drug trafficking is a major problem. Latin America is the world's largest producer of cocaine, and drug trafficking is a major problem in the region. Drug trafficking leads to violence and corruption, and it also fuels organized crime. 13. Climate change is a major threat. Latin America is one of the most vulnerable regions to climate change, and it is already experiencing the impacts of this global problem. For example, rising sea levels are threatening coastal areas, and droughts are becoming more frequent. These are just some of the major problems facing Latin America. While there have been some successes in recent years, such as the reduction in poverty rates, there is still a lot of work to be done. If these problems are not addressed, they will continue to contribute to poverty and inequality in the region. Final words. Latin America is still poor because of a lack of education and investment. However, there are some countries in the region that are doing well. The key to economic success for Latin America lies in increasing access to education and improving infrastructure. Hopefully, this will help reduce poverty levels in the region. Thanks for watching.